Welcome to Peptides 101. In this deep dive, we're going to explore GHKQ,
Yeah,
a peptide that's generating a lot of buzz lately, especially for women in their 30s to 50s.
right.
You want to know what it is, what it does, and why it matters to you.
Yeah.
We get it, and we're here to break it all down. Imagine being able to turn back the clock on your skin, reduce wrinkles, and even speed up healing.
Wow.
That's the promise of GHKQ, a naturally occurring copper peptide that plays a crucial role in skin repair and regeneration.
That's right. And what's fascinating here is that GHKQ is something our bodies already make. It's a chain of amino acids that binds to copper ions, making them available to our cells.
Okay, so copper on my skin. That sounds a little unusual. Why is copper so important for my skin?
It might sound surprising, but copper is actually a key player in maintaining healthy skin.
Well,
It helps with the production of collagen and elastin, the proteins that give our skin its structure and that youthful bounce.
okay.
GHKQ acts like a delivery system, ensuring that copper gets to our skin cells where it's needed most.
So it's like a VIP escort for copper,
Right.
making sure it gets to the skin's most exclusive club. That makes sense. But why is there so much hype around GHKQ, especially for women in that age group?
Well, studies show that our GHKQ levels naturally decline as we get older, starting as early as our 30s. By the time we reach 60, our levels can be less than half of what they were in our 20s. This decline can impact our skin's ability to produce collagen and bounce back from damage, leading to those visible signs of aging like wrinkles and sagging.
So lower GHKQ equals less collagen,
Mm.
which equals, well, not the youthful glow we're aiming for. That's a
Mm.
bit disheartening. But you mentioned this peptide does more than just fight wrinkles, right? It's a multitasker.
Absolutely. GHKQ is like a little repair crew that rushes to any damaged site. It accelerates wound healing, minimizes the appearance of scars after surgery, helps with burn care, and even promotes hair follicle regeneration.
Wow, that's impressive. It's like a construction team, a first aid squad, and a beauty therapist all rolled into one. How does it manage to do all that?
GHKQ attracts immune cells to clean up the injured area, promotes the formation of new blood vessels, and encourages fibroblasts, those collagen-producing cells, to get to work repairing and rebuilding tissue.
It sounds like this peptide is a serious overachiever, and all of this is happening naturally within our bodies.
Exactly. Supplementing with GHKQ is simply giving our systems a little extra support to do what they already know how to do. We're just replenishing what our bodies naturally crave, especially as we age.
That makes me feel better about exploring this further.
Oh.
But we have to address the copper issue. Is it really safe to put copper on our skin?
That's a valid concern and one we hear a lot. But remember, GHKQ delivers copper in a way that's safe and effective. It works with your body's natural zinc-to-copper ratio, ensuring that balance is maintained. And it helps the copper become bioavailable, meaning your skin can actually use it. Think of it as providing the right form of copper in the right amount to the right place.
So it's about working with the body's natural processes, not against them. Now, how can we actually utilize this wonder peptide? What are our options?
Well, topical application is the most common and easiest way to incorporate GHKQ into your routine. This includes creams, serums, and even scalp drops for hair regeneration.
So we're talking about incorporating it into our daily skincare routine. Pretty straightforward, but what if you want something a little more targeted?
That's where microneedling comes in. This technique creates tiny punctures in the skin, allowing for deeper penetration of the GHKQ serum and potentially more noticeable results.
Interesting. So we're creating little pathways for the peptide to dive deeper into the skin's layers. Can we combine GHKQ with other ingredients for even better results?
Absolutely. That's called stacking. Combining GHKQ with other peptides that complement its action, for example, pairing it with argiline, known for its Botox-like effect on fine lines and wrinkles, or Matrixol, another collagen booster, can really amplify the anti-aging benefits.
Okay, so stacking is like building the ultimate anti-aging power team.
Yeah.
But are there any precautions we should be aware of when mixing and matching these peptides?
Definitely. Avoid mixing GHKQ with strong acids or vitamin C, as they can degrade the peptide and reduce its effectiveness. It's all about understanding the chemistry of your skincare ingredients.
It sounds like a little knowledge about ingredients goes a long way in creating a truly potent and personalized routine. This is getting exciting. Now, another thing that caught my eye was the connection between GHKQ and GLP-1. What's the story there?
This is where we enter the realm of synergy. GLP-1 agonists are a class of medications known for their metabolic and weight loss benefits. When combined with GHKQ, they can create a powerful partnership.
So synergy, like a dynamic duo working together to achieve even greater results. What kind of results are we talking about?
We're talking about potentially enhanced fat loss, improved skin tightening, and a boost in overall cellular health. Imagine achieving your weight management goals while simultaneously improving skin elasticity and vibrancy.
It sounds amazing.
Oh,
Hold on. Are you saying that GHKQ's benefits extend beyond skincare?
you're catching on. There's promising research on its potential for treating lung damage, aiding joint and bone healing, and even protecting against cognitive decline.
Wow. This little peptide is turning out to be quite the powerhouse. We've covered a lot of ground already, but I'm definitely eager to hear more about these broader health benefits. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
It really is, and the research on GHKQ's potential is expanding rapidly. For example, studies have shown its ability to stimulate nerve growth factor, which is crucial for nerve repair and regeneration.
So we're not just talking about looking younger, but potentially feeling younger too. Healthier nerves could mean better mobility, faster recovery from injuries, maybe even a sharper mind.
Exactly. And there's evidence that GHKQ can protect neurons from oxidative stress, which is a major contributor to cognitive decline. You could think of it as a shield for your brain cells, helping them stay healthy and function properly as you age.
That's incredible. We often focus so much on the outward signs of aging that we forget about the importance of a healthy brain. But let's go back to those potential concerns about copper. We touched on it earlier. But can we delve a bit deeper into the safety aspects?
Of course. It's natural to have questions about using copper, especially as a supplement. The key takeaway is that GHKQ delivers copper in a form your body can easily use, called bioavailable. This means it doesn't disrupt your natural zinc to copper ratio, which is essential for maintaining overall health.
Okay, so it's not about overloading our bodies with copper, but rather providing it in a way our cells can actually use safely and efficiently. That makes me feel a lot better. Now, let's say someone listening is really intrigued by GHKQ and wants to try it out. What would be the first steps?
The best first step would be to consult with a knowledgeable healthcare professional. They can assess your individual needs and health history to determine the appropriate dosage and application method for you.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. We need to personalize our GHKQ journey based on our unique circumstances.
Exactly. It's about creating a tailored plan that aligns with your specific health and wellness goals. And remember, consistency is key. GHKQ works best when used regularly over time, just like any good habit you're trying to build.
That makes sense. It's not about expecting some overnight miracle, but rather integrating it into your lifestyle for long-term benefits. Speaking of integration, can you give us some specific examples of how to incorporate GHKQ into a daily routine?
Absolutely. For topical application, you could start with a GHKQ serum in the morning, followed by your regular moisturizer and sunscreen. In the evening, you could apply a GHKQ cream after cleansing.
So pretty straightforward, just swapping out some of your current products for GHKQ alternatives. What about microneedling? How often would you recommend that?
Microneedling is usually done by a professional, and the frequency depends on your skin's tolerance and your desired results. It can range from once a month to every few months. It's always best to discuss this with a qualified practitioner to see what's right for you.
So we've covered topical application and microneedling. Are there any other ways to use GHKQ?
Yes, there are also injectable forms of GHKQ, which can offer systemic benefits beyond skincare. However, these are typically administered by a healthcare professional and may require a more thorough discussion of potential risks and benefits.
Injectable GHKQ. Now that's something I'd love to learn more about. But maybe we can save that for another deep dive. For now, let's stick with the topical options, which seem more accessible and easy to incorporate into a daily routine. Any final thoughts on GHKQ before we move on to something else that caught my attention?
I think the most important takeaway is that GHKQ isn't just a trendy ingredient. It's a naturally occurring peptide with proven benefits for skin health, wound healing, and potentially much more. It can be a powerful tool for those seeking to age gracefully and maintain their overall well-being.
I agree. It's not about chasing some elusive fountain of youth, but rather embracing the body's own regenerative powers and giving them a little extra support. This GHKQ journey is sounding more and more appealing. But we have to talk about potential downsides or risks associated with GHKQ. Is there anything we should be aware of?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and one we should always consider when exploring new supplements or skincare ingredients. While GHKQ is generally considered safe and well tolerated, there's always a chance of individual sensitivities or reactions, as with anything you apply to your skin.
So we need to listen to our bodies and pay attention to any unusual responses. What would be some red flags to look out for?
If you experience any redness, irritation, itching, or other unusual skin reactions after using a GHKQ product, stop using it immediately and consult with a dermatologist or your healthcare professional. It's always best to err on the side of caution.
Makes sense. It's better to be safe than sorry. But aside from potential skin sensitivities, are there any other risks or long-term effects associated with GHKQ use?
Based on current research, there are no known long-term adverse effects associated with topical GHK use. However, like any supplement, it's important to use it responsibly and follow the recommended dosage guidelines.
So moderation and informed decision-making are key. We're not talking about some magical elixir that solves all our problems. It's about incorporating GHKQ as part of a holistic approach to health and wellness.
Exactly. It's about understanding the science, listening to our bodies, and working with qualified healthcare professionals to make informed choices that support our individual needs and goals.
Well said. Earlier we briefly discussed the FDA and regulations around peptides. I'd love to dive into that a little more. It seems like things are constantly changing, and I'm sure our listeners are curious about what it all means.
It's definitely a topic that's generating a lot of discussion and honestly some confusion. The FDA's recent decisions to restrict access to certain peptides have created challenges for both patients and healthcare providers.
It feels like there's been a sudden shift, and a lot of people are wondering about the future of peptide therapies. What are your thoughts on this evolving landscape?
It's a complex issue with many different perspectives. While the FDA's primary role is to ensure the safety and efficacy of medications, some argue that these new restrictions limit access to potentially beneficial therapies, especially those that have a long history of safe use, like GHKQ.
It sounds like finding the right balance between safeguarding public health and encouraging innovation in healthcare is a challenge. But how do these regulations specifically impact GHKQ? Is it still readily available?
The good news is that GHKQ remains available in those topical formulations we talked about earlier, creams, serums, those sorts of things. These aren't subject to the same level of regulatory scrutiny as injectable peptides.
That is good news. So those interested in exploring GHKQ for skin care and wound healing can still access it fairly easily. But what about those looking for the potential systemic benefits, like nerve regeneration or cognitive support? Are injectable forms of GHKQ still an option?
While injectable GHKQ might be more challenging to obtain due to the recent FDA actions, there are still healthcare providers who offer peptide therapies as part of their practice. It might require a bit more research and networking to find a qualified practitioner who aligns with your health goals.
So it's not a dead end, but it requires more effort and due diligence. Any advice for those who are interested in injectable GHKQ or other peptide therapies?
My top recommendations would be to do your research, seek referrals from trusted sources, and consult with healthcare professionals who have extensive experience and expertise in peptide therapies. It's crucial to prioritize safety and find practitioners who are committed to ethical and evidence-based practices.
That's excellent advice. It seems like knowledge really is our best defense against misinformation and potentially harmful practices. It sounds like being informed is key, especially when it comes to our health. But before we wrap up, let's go back to maximizing the benefits of topical GHKQ. We've talked about applying it directly to the skin and microneedling. But are there other ways to boost its effects?
One approach gaining popularity is combining GHKQ with other peptides in your skincare routine. It's about creating a blend that works synergistically to target multiple aspects of skin health and aging.
So like creating a team of superheroes, each with their own special powers, to combat those signs of aging from all angles. I like it.
Exactly. For example, pairing GHKQ with matrixyl, another peptide that stimulates collagen production, could lead to even more noticeable improvements in wrinkles and skin firmness.
It's fascinating that we can be so targeted in our approach to skincare these days, but I imagine creating these peptide blends requires a pretty deep understanding of how they all work together. Any tips for those who want to explore this?
It's definitely an area where doing your research and consulting with knowledgeable professionals is key. Start by looking for reputable sources of information and consider working with a dermatologist or esthetician who specializes in peptide therapies. They can guide you on safe and effective combinations based on your skin type and concerns. Keep in mind that not all peptides work well together, and some combinations can be counterproductive or even irritate your skin.
It's like mixing ingredients in a recipe. You need to understand the chemistry to create something delicious, not a culinary disaster.
That's a great analogy. It's about respecting the science and being thoughtful in your approach. Don't just throw a bunch of peptides together and hope for the best.
Speaking of respecting science and being thoughtful, I want to touch on something that's particularly relevant to our audience of women in their 30s to 50s, hormonal changes and their impact on skin. As women go through perimenopause and menopause,
Yeah.
our skin goes through a lot too.
Absolutely. Fluctuating hormone levels during these life stages can lead to all sorts of changes in our skin. Dryness, thinning, loss of elasticity. It's a lot to deal with.
It really is. It's like our skin goes through its own midlife crisis. But how could GHKQ help us navigate these hormonal ups and downs?
That's where GHKQ's ability to stimulate collagen and elastin production comes in. It can help counteract some of those age-related changes and maintain the skin's youthful resilience even as our hormones are shifting.
So it's like providing that extra support our skin needs during a time when it's particularly vulnerable. Are there any specific tips for incorporating GHKQ into our routines during these transitions?
Hydration is key. Make sure you're using a good moisturizer and consider adding a hyaluronic acid serum to your routine, as hyaluronic acid attracts and retains moisture in the skin. You might also want to look for skincare products specifically formulated for mature skin, as they tend to be more nourishing and address the unique needs of aging skin.
So it's all about creating a skincare routine that evolves with us and meets our skin's changing needs as we age. It's not about denying the natural process of aging, but rather embracing it and supporting our skin's health along the way.
I love that. It's about taking a proactive and informed approach to skincare so you can feel confident and radiant no matter what stage of life you're in.
This deep dive into the world of GHKQ has been incredibly insightful. We've covered so much from its potential for boosting collagen and healing wounds to the exciting research on nerve regeneration and cognitive support. I feel like I have a much better understanding of this remarkable peptide and how it can be used.
It's been my pleasure sharing this information with you and your listeners. I hope it empowers everyone to make informed choices about their health and well-being.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, especially in the complex world of health and wellness. And remember, this deep dive is just the beginning of your exploration into GHKQ. There's so many resources available, and we encourage you to continue learning and researching.
And don't hesitate to reach out to qualified healthcare professionals for guidance on your individual GHKQ journey. It's all about finding what works best for you and your unique needs.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the world of GHKQ. We hope you found it informative, empowering, and maybe even a little inspiring.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep into the world of science and wellness.